Wondering what's next in your business or personal life? Welcome to Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings, a podcast dedicated to helping you with all of life's challenges, discoveries, and opportunities. Whether you're seeking a new career, retirement, or simply wanting to make an impact in your community or the world. Join Jen Duplessis and her guests as they explore how to start, what to do when you're in the thick of a change or growth, and how to leave a mark in this world after breaking through your next achievement. You are moments away from the aha you've been seeking.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm laughing at my own jokes as I come on here. And by the way, I never edit anything. There's just very rare that I edit anything. So to start this off with me giggling is probably the best way to get going. Hey there, you. Welcome for coming on to the show or for listening to our show today. I'm delighted to have my guest here with us. It's a long time coming, and I don't know why it's such a long time. And I'll tell you what, it is funny, Jill, because I was looking at your links and stuff, and we're not even connected in certain spaces. And I was like, oh, this is just crazy. Now, I don't follow hardly anybody on Instagram, but on other things, I follow everybody. And I was like, why aren't we connected? And, it needs to be part of a process that we put together. It just definitely has to. It's the craziest thing. But again, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to introduce you to our guest today, Jill Lublin. She's an international speaker on the topics of publicity, networking, kindness, and referrals. My goodness, lots of things. She's an author of 4 best-selling books. And I'm going to just write them all down when we get there. Her latest book is called The Profit of Kindness and went #1 in 4 categories. She's a master strategist on how to position your business for more profitability and more visibility in the marketplace. And I want to make sure that we're talking about AI today, how that relates to this too. She has over 25 years of experience working with over 100,000 people, plus international and national and international media. And she teaches virtual publicity boot camps and consults speakers all over the world. She's spoken on stages with the likes of Tony Robbins, which I've been on the stage with too. She also leads a conscious kindness community that meets every month, and we're going to give you information about that. But most importantly, so all those accolades aside, Jill and I have known each other now for about 6 years because I met you in New York. We were at a pre-event that Allison had for City Gala, but it's not the gala itself. It was City Summits, right? The City Summits that we had at the UN. I remember having it at the UN and thinking, wow, we're going into the UN to have this meeting. So we've known each other for 6 years and keep stumbling past one another and just have fun every time we're together. So welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Jen. It is delightful to be here. I particularly love when we swim in the Caribbean together.
Yeah. Although I don't know, do we ever stand in the water and have cocktails? We'll have to think about, we'll have to make sure. I know we went shopping together, but we'll have to stand in the water next time, next year on the Marketers Cruise. So, and for you listening, if it's the first time you're listening, you hear me say Marketers Cruise, we always have a link to the Marketers Cruise in our show notes because we just feel like that's a great event for you to go to. So grab your spot there, it's invite only, and just scroll down and say, yep, Lady Jen invited you. And then they'll know that I did that. So anyway, Jill, one of the things, every time I think about you, and, we had this conversation not too long ago, I said, I think every time I think about you, I think of one thing and you're like, no, actually I do this thing and I do that thing. And I'm trying to figure out, and I know it's PR. I know it's book related. And I remember I took one of your boot camps, and maybe it's the same boot camp, that you've been running for a long time, but I took one of the boot camps too about how to position yourself, for interviewing and being on a show and all of those things. And I don't remember all of it, but I remember lines of it because I'm sure I use it today. So you've had an impact on me. But let's talk about publicity, because this is the thing that you wanted to talk about today. And especially, I shouldn't say especially, let's add AI into this mix too, because it's really becoming something, I've been around it for a long time. I remember calling my son and saying, hey, have you heard of Chat GPT? I just learned about it. That was like 2.5, 3 years ago. And he's like, Mom, I've been using it for 10 years. Where have you been? Right. So it's not new. It's just new. There's a new light on it and how that's affecting publicity. So let's just make sure we're weaving that into our conversation today. So that said, this is called Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. What is a ceiling that you broke through that propelled you into where you're at now in the publicity world? Because you've got a lot of things that you did, and there was something that you said, I'm going for that. And I'm sure it was painful, and what you learned and what you're, how you are on the other side of it as well.
Well, thank you. I think honestly, being a woman has, for me, been a place to break a lot of glass ceilings. Yes, I was blessed to speak on Tony Robbins' stage. Do you know there were 24 speakers and I was the only woman, Jen? So I went and bought a dress. I mean,
right? It's still that way today. I
yeah,
just went to an event and there was one woman. Yeah. And it was me.
yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, good for us is all I can say. So, I also started my career in the music business. Also, very few women. So breaking glass ceilings that way, it was super fun. And I think for me that was really good. Honestly, staying in the publicity business, staying upright, staying focused, staying ahead of the game, coming out with 4 books, right? And all of that for me was tremendous. And listen, the publicity world and the marketing world, when 9/11 hit, marketing went awry.
Yeah.
There's been many life events where marketing went to the bottom of the budgets. So I feel like because people understand the power and importance of publicity, that and in fact, to be honest, in today's world, yes, with AI, yes, with losing some media and gaining others, I feel more and more, well, that's how relevant it is for you to be relevant, because you don't want to be, I'll just say, AI replay. And every client, Jen, I have had look up her bio or his bio on, by doing it with Chat GPT, for example. Guess what? Everyone's been wrong. Now, here's what I say. You use AI as a jumping off point. Like, I love for you to run an article through AI and then please edit it for your voice, because they don't sound like you. I've done this at least 40 times and I'm like, that just isn't my voice. Make sure that your voice is in AI. And the good news is, once you do this enough, they will pick up your voice, your cadence, your kind of speaking. And I think that's really important. But I'll tell you, I'm honestly a little worried about AI, not huge amounts, and it's gotten better. Just because I've seen the mistakes and just because I've seen people leaning too much on it, a place to jump off from. Remember that, and you'll be good.
I love that you're saying that, because I've asked Chat to start something for me when I'm thinking, when I have to write an article in a, magazine, or, I need to write a new email series or campaign or something like that. I think I don't know where to start. So I loved having Chat do that. And, I was at Secret Knock and they said, hey, get somebody like Robin Williams or someone, to write in the voice of Robin Williams. I thought, well, I'll just try Jen Duplessis. And lo and behold, it came back. And it had all these little buzzwords that I use. And I thought, wow, I've arrived. It's not perfect, but it is a way to get started to, eliminate procrastination. For me, that's what it does. But I find at the end, I'm really not in the same place that I started with Chat. It gives me the ideas to be able to plant. So my question to you, not about AI, but thanks for planting that seed for us. But in the big bad world of, just our world, we've got billions and billions of people in the world. From a publicity standpoint, how do we attract people? And the second half to that question is, and maybe a correction of the first, I want your insight for both, is maybe the problem is we're trying to attract everybody and we need to be attracting our avatar. So talk to us about the best way for us to get rid of the noise and shine the light on what we're trying to share with the world.
Well, shining a light on what you're sharing with the world is the first place to start, because publicity is about impact and influence and bringing your contribution to the right people. So one of the things I ask of you is to target market. Who do you want to reach? I know I serve consultants, coaches, speakers, authors, and healers and authors. Those are my primary markets. So then the question becomes, okay, where are they listening? What podcasts, what magazines, newspapers, radio, TV are they watching? So that's really good. And then I love for you to go local. In other words, your local market, your ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox radio and TV affiliates, fabulous. Plus your daily paper and your business journal. That's what I call a local list, a local media list. Let's go for that too. And I think that really what you want to be doing is deciding who are your markets. You might be talking to them slightly differently. So keep that in mind. Let's not do a kind of a egg shot to everyone. Although, listen, I want you to throw some spaghetti on the wall and let's see what sticks. And, it's okay. It's a little bit of sometimes experimentation, seeing what people are listening to and what they care about, not what you care about. What do your customers, clients care about? What are their concerns? That's what you need to talk to. And what the media cares about is what do their readers, viewers, and listeners care about. So that's what you speak to. It's not, here's what I do, here's what I do. That's beat the chest. I like to call that, beat the chest publicity. Let's talk about what's in it for them. That favorite radio station that everybody listens to, IFM, that's in it for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And, I always say, if you're selling something, everything to everybody, you're selling nothing to no one, right? You have to be very, very specific in what you're doing. When you said, not about what I want to talk about, right? Or what the listeners, what we want to talk about, but what they want to talk about. Do you have some strategies to help break through some of the conversations that someone might have if they do want to go to a radio station, et cetera? And the reason I'm asking this question is, there's a national day for everything.
Yeah.
Right? And so if I teach scaling, right? I coach people on scaling businesses. So I could look up and say, where's the National Scaling Day? And that would be something that I would want to take. And yes, it's a topic I want to talk about, but it would be something I would want to take to a local station and say, did you know that so-and-so day is National Scaling Your Business Day? I'd love to come in and talk about scaling your business. Would that be an okay way to focus on me as to be able to provide some content to a radio station to break the ice on that? Because I imagine a lot of people are thinking, well, what am I going to go there and talk to them about? If it's not what I do, then how do I do that? So maybe you can talk about that. And then maybe what are some suggestions to come up with some ideas that might be of interest for their listeners in the WIFM context
Well,
here?
The resource you're talking about is nationaldaycalendar.com.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody go look this up and plug in what you talk about, and then think about using everything you've got. So for instance, I have a client, he's got a 4-year-old. I go, hey, does she like hot dogs? There's National Hot Dog Day.
Yeah, there is.
He was talking about that, driving people to his website after he talked about his 4-year-old. So I want you to know that this is inclusive, and that's a really super great strategy, is to use everything you've got. For instance, my client, she's a business consultant. She has a son who's autistic. We use National Autism Month,
which happens
to talk
to
about
be today as we're recording. Did you know that? You didn't know that? Yeah, today's National Autism Day as we're recording this. So.
Yes. So if you have anything to do with this, you want to pick that day or perhaps that month or whatever it is that you can be using everything you've got. This is a great strategy that many of you, if you pick this up, you're going to go a lot farther and a lot longer way. So that's first thing, is find out what's relevant to others. And then let's look at what's happening in the world, right? So I have a dating coach. When the elections are going on, you know what she talks about? By the way, she spent all of Fox News day from literally 7 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon talking about, can a Democrat date a Republican, and can a Republican
Oh,
date a
I was
Democrat?
wondering what the tie-in was going to be. Yeah. See, okay, so you're real creative at seeing that tie-in because it's your genius zone. What happens when you don't have that genius zone? Do you have like what I'm envisioning is like it's not a Ben Franklin, but remember in school we had, yellow sun, and we had to draw the lines between the yellow and the sun and the green and the grass, right? And draw those lines. Is there a mechanism that we could use to be able to say, okay, we're talking about, whatever the topics are, but we have these topics. How do I draw those to my topics? Is there something that we can learn to do if we're not working with you directly, although we're going to tell people to work with you directly?
Yes, thank you. Well, a couple things. One is use these resources. There's one other one I love called Google Alerts. Put
I
your name.
use that. Yeah.
Yes, put your name into Google Alerts and put the what you speak about or what you train about or what your service is. So for instance, when the Profit of Kindness came out, I put in the word kindness into Google Alerts. That's how I found out World Kindness Day is November 13th. Now we can orient our publicity to November 13th and to Random Acts of Kindness Week in February. Now, here's a fun thing that I want you to also to think about is sometimes you're going to go contrary. So here I am talking about kindness. I said on Random Acts of Kindness Week, I said, forget about random acts of kindness. Let's practice conscious acts of kindness, one every single day, and imagine a different world, because it will be if everyone's doing that. And that's what got me into the Seattle Independent. So sometimes you will be taking a contrary position, I'll call it, which is still interesting. It allows more engaging discussion. And look at that. So, think ahead. One thing is, I want you to think of your publicity like an evolutionary garden and plant your seeds for now, for 3 months, for 6 months, for 9 months ahead. And with that, you can be looking at holidays, local, where you fit in different ways that make sense at different times. And then, then there's your subject matter expertise, right? Being a subject matter expert is really key in many, many guest sourcing. If you look at the word source from media, they use sources. Those are you, the experts out there watching and listening. You're the sources that they want media interviews with, to confirm, to deny, to take contrary positions. So know that, listen, you don't have to have a book. Most of my clients don't have a book. You need an expertise, yes. A way of putting yourself out there, yes. You don't need to, shall we say, be the most knowledgeable about that particular topic. And if I may, let me give you a case in point that I was teaching my media mastery intensive where, yes, we do learn exact things to do for your publicity. And I got a producer from ABC TV in Dallas, which I don't live in Dallas. Now is great news about media. You can do all these interviews by Zoom. It has opened up the media world for all of you to walk into. So much better. And he said, listen, something happened today. It was actually a CEO of a large ad agency who made a racist remark. Now, this ad agency had Motel 6, Diet Dr. Pepper, Home Depot, all his clients, right? He did a stupid thing and he said something that I actually hadn't read when I got this text because I was busy teaching my media mastery. And I said, you know what? I can absolutely talk about this at 4 p.m. Pacific. Let's get back on the phone. Here's the thing about media. You always say yes. And then it's called bridging. You bridge what you know to what they're talking about. Because here's the good news. I just want to say, media, it's your opinion. It's your opinion. I mean, there's hard news, of course, wars and other such terrible things. And then there's you, the expert, with your opinion. So that's what I want all of you to relax into, is that you know a lot and the media needs guests. In fact, just a fun statistic, there are 10,000 radio shows every single day. Yeah. They need 4,000 guests. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. And I know I've worked with a company in Dallas, ironically, who has got me on, I was on, I think, a 40-minute show, 40 minutes on the phone, doing phone interviews for a radio show. But I think I was on 8 or 9 radio shows in 40 minutes. That's what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
on the phone and it was just next, just talking about the different things, and they were just quick little shots of things. It was so exciting and so fun. I love that. Well, you haven't mentioned Haro, which is help a reporter out. So tell us what you think about Haro.
I do love Haro. The only problem with Haro is everybody's using it,
And
which
so it takes forever.
yeah, a little bit more competition, but it's
Yeah.
highly effective. What it is, for those of you who don't know, and definitely go to haro.com and sign up, HARO.com. Here's the deal. It's a reporter from,
God knows
could
where.
be, yeah, exactly. Big media, small media, and by the way, everything counts and everything matters.
Yeah.
They are looking for very specific people to interview, and why not you, right? So you answer it how they request and follow their directions. One thing about media, follow their directions, otherwise you're out.
Mhm.
And I've gotten a financial planner who, by the way, was talking about using everything he's got with a wife with breast cancer. And it grew his financial business by
Business.
38%. Huge, right?
Yeah.
I promise you, publicity is going to grow your business. The point is, get in every way you can. Haro's a great other tactic and tool to do that.
Yeah, I love that too. And thanks for bringing up the fact that, so a good example of, a financial advisor who, indirectly, although it was probably positioned that way because you want to influence so that you can attract clients, but, indirectly from just being on a show. Because some people will say, well, if I go on the show, will I get a client? Probably not, but being on multiple shows and having that circumvent back to you and increasing the awareness of you will get you on shows. And so you can't just go in and say it's going to be one and I'm going to get all the business in the world, correct?
Well, and let me address that because sometimes you will. And the truth
Okay.
about publicity is it's elevating your status, creating authority and trust in the marketplace. It
Credibility.
leads to credibility and visibility and, yes, sales. Listen, one of my clients, an instructional designer, I didn't even know what that was when he first hired me. And I recreated his story. I said, Ryan, let's make an interesting story. Using everything he's got, being Asian American, we translated his articles,
Oh,
put it
wow.
into the
Yeah.
Chinese Times. He got a $7,000 actual consulting just from that one thing. And then 9 months of powerful publicity because we were doing so well, which got him into Entrepreneur Magazine, Home Office Computing, Mac Home Journal, front page of the San
Wow.
Francisco Chronicle business section. I mean, so many, riding a publicity wave. And, it does come in waves. I would tell you, I saw one woman sell 42 books in a 15-minute podcast interview. My answer is yes, it's going to get you leads, referrals, and contacts. And think long game here, my friends. It's about raising your credibility and elevating your status and having people say, I've heard of you somewhere. That's the power of publicity, which leads to that, yes, I want to work with you, that trust factor. Listen, one of my consultants, business consultants, she walked into a Minneapolis engagement being interviewed along with 2 other people, so that's 3. He said to her, hey, I Googled you. I see that you've been featured in the Minneapolis Star Tribune. Let me say, following my system, she actually got one line in the Minneapolis Star Tribune, which is fabulous. He said she was featured. It's all perception, right?
Yeah.
And immediately she was hired for a $36,000 engagement. Yes, fantastic. Because of being featured, which put her ahead of the pack.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And I know, I mean, I've had those types of things too. And I think they're fantastic. I really do. I think that this is, so let's transition just a little bit about this is that, this requires a lot of work. Right? Let's be honest with it, right? It requires a lot of work. So what happens when you're a solopreneur or you're someone who just is not an extrovert? right? And you don't have the skill set for this, or you don't even know who Chat GPT is to help you get started. I know what your answer is, and I'm leading it down there is, do you really need to have a publicist to do this, or can you do it on your own? But if you're going to do it on your own, maybe there's 2 or 3 tips that say, look, I'm not ready to hire a publicist, but what are the 2 or 3 things that I could do that would excel this and start moving it down the road rather than thinking about it and not taking action? And then subsequent to that is, what can a publicist do to accelerate results?
Well, first of all, I want to say I am not a publicist. I actually was. Now I've committed my career to helping others get publicity without spending a fortune that a publicity agency does charge. Because I do know tips, tricks, and frankly, hacks to get far more publicity quickly.
Right.
I also want to correct one thing, and that is publicity does not take a lot of work. What it takes is focus. I want you to do 30 minutes a week, okay? 30 minutes a week of orienting toward, I'll call them visibility building activities, okay? And what that looks like is things we talked about, Haro, Google Alerts, right? Some of the things we talked about, answering those. And if you can't do 30 minutes, then do 2 15-minute segments. Perfect. I promise you, if you do this, that one action, 30 minutes a week, segmented however it works for you, you're going to get momentum is the word, and momentum is what creates great publicity. And so since I've dedicated, I now do media mastery intensive. They're just focused, we're going to get this done, opportunities to really roll up our sleeves. And here's what I know. When you're focused on a message, let's get your message done first. Like these messages that I shared in those success stories were people who created it the right way versus I'm an instructional designer or I'm a business consultant. That just doesn't cut the publicity mustard. However, in Ryan's case, using the fact that he's Asian American, in the business consultant's case, Minneapolis Star Tribune, local publicity, right? Exactly the things I'm talking about. So I'm going to suggest you start local with your local business journal, who always wants great experts to interview, and your daily paper, whatever sections, right? Like I had a woman who's a real estate person. We went after the real estate section, health in the health section, and so on and so forth. There's always a business section. Let's start you local, get that happening. I also think that starting with podcasts is really great. And that's super helpful. They're simpler to get. Like, for instance, here's a great tip. Go to iTunes, type in one word, business, health, whatever it is for you, and see what podcasts are showing up and go after those first. So I think that would be a great place to start. And also, Blog Talk Radio has been completely revamped. There's thousands and thousands of media people who need you right now, all of you listening, to be interviewing, and they're looking to fill segments. So those are great places to start. And then, Jen, and for all of you, once you get one publicity, I want you to publicize your publicity. I want you to leverage that because one does create.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, you're right. That
exactly.
momentum, they say a body in motion stays in motion, right? So it's the same thing. Publicity in motion stays in motion, and it continues to drive it, And I know you have your boot camp. Let's talk about that, because I know you need to get going here. Your boot camp talks about what to say when someone says, welcome to the show, because you just mentioned this, it's like, oh, hi, well, this is my title, which people lead with title instead of what they do and how they do it. But I know that in your boot camp, this is something you talk about too, is how to self-promote. I'm going to use that word, self-promote during an interview, correct? What are the words to use? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's now called Media Mastery Intensive. We just renamed it, which I'm excited about.
See how long I've been around? Yeah.
Media Mastery. And, here's the thing. I bring media there, actual media it's all on Zoom. People get to pitch them. People hear what works from them in today's media marketplace. And we have people who have podcasts and who have TV shows and who run a magazine, just different media. So that's super practical. And I'm big on, roll up our sleeves and let's actually get it done. And I have systems because I believe systems in media, like in life and in business, work. So I have a 30-day, a 60, and a 90-day system. We actually do it inside of the Media Mastery Intensive, and that's super great. And one of the things, if I may actually offer them the free gift, because that's going to help them get there.
Absolutely. Because we'll have a link for that down below, but yes. Yeah. And it's the kindness circle, right? Is that the gift that you wanted to do, is to invite them into
the kindness circle? You are all absolutely invited to. And what I want to give to you additionally is a publicity action guide. This is like beyond even what we've been talking about here today, more great publicity tips, and super excited to offer you a bonus gift within that. And that's the opportunity to take a master publicity class with me, live and interactive on Zoom. Ask me every question and more great content. So that's at publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift. And I know Jen said it'll also be in the show notes. I look forward to helping you all there.
Yeah, sounds wonderful. Thank you so much. And I know there's so much more we could talk about, but it's a podcast. Right. And I know you have to go, and I'll probably bring you on again so that we can talk about even more of what you're doing, because I know you're doing so much more. Thank you so much for being here today. And I always like to ask everybody at the end, hey, do you want to share a book? Do you want to share a quote, a mantra that you think would inspire people as we end our time together?
Yes. Well, first of all, I love being here with you, Jen. You're always amazing. And what I love to do is share Abraham Lincoln, who wrote this quote, and that is, whatever you do, be a good one.
I love it. I love it. Be a good one. I'm writing it down. I got to have it in here. I got to have it in my notes. That sounds wonderful. Well, thank you again, Jill, for coming on. And we will definitely get you back on again, because I think this is something, we can't be secret. We can't be hidden when we've got all of these beautiful gifts to give to the world. And that's what you're all about, is how do we share these gifts, with the world? And that's really what the podcast is like success to significance. It has so many connotations and so many meanings, but in this case, it's, you're really, really successful. How do we make you significant in the world so that you can share, your wisdom with everybody? So thank you again for being a guest on the show today. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jen. Great to be with you.
Absolutely. So for all of you listening, thank you again for showing us your patronage by listening and downloading. Please don't forget to share this forward and go subscribe to our YouTube channel, because on there we have our other shows and the TV show and some other content that I put out there every once in a while. So please go there and see all the resources that are available to you. And again, don't forget to write us a great 5-star review and put in a great comment about what you learned from Jill today and what you're going to put into action. So with that, we'll catch you on the next episode of Success to Significance. Talk to you soon.
You've been listening to Success to Significance with Jen Duplessis, the #1 podcast for people wanting to give more value and make an impact. Loved this episode? Be sure to subscribe right now at www.jenduplessis.com/S2S for more stories, strategies, and thoughts to help you gain significance and success. And if you like what we're doing, don't forget to give us a rating and review so we can continue to bring you the best content possible. Join us next week for another breakthrough episode. Thank you for listening.